What's going on, Duck Nation, College Basketball Nation, even though I'm wearing a football jersey? This is UODuckBros back with another video, our first recap video of the basketball season. And
actually, a very exciting game, actually, because, you know,
right?
On a boat. I'm on a boat.
God.
And, you know, against a really big-time program, even though I know they're not ranked, but still, Georgetown, one of the best programs there is in college football. Traditional power, and Oregon went out there and played like crap.
And they still won.
Still won. What did they go to the line? Like 60 times, it seemed like?
By the way, I know that I said that I'm not into doing score predictions, but did I not totally call the exact point spread of that? I said Oregon won't win by any more than 7, and they win by 7, damn it.
You must be channeling your inner Chris Angel, mind freak.
Yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready? Apparently. So, here's the only thing. Let me do a stat check on how many times they went to the line. They took 44 free throws in that game, by the way. And they took 22 threes. So once again, they lived and died by the 3 because they only made, what, like 6 of them?
I think 6.
They sure did. So,
oh my lord.
So that's the encouraging thing, though, that you can go out and you can shoot like absolute hell on wheels.
Because they literally were chucking everything.
They were. And they still got a W.
Now, meanwhile, without our starting point guard, Dominic Artis, who's a very key component to this team, and without Ben Carter, who was also
slated to be a pretty big piece in the forward game.
At least for size. I mean, I know he can score a little bit too, but not having that extra body against Georgetown actually showed because we got dominated in the paint.
Here's one of the only things that I can see being a potential problem going forward here, and it was exploited big time in this game. By the way,
because Waverly Austin weighs about 170 pounds.
It's not even that, really. I mean, okay, let's just get this out in the open real quick. Josh Smith is huge.
What is he, 350? And that's losing weight, by the way.
Yeah. So
good lord, that guy's
I know he was pretty good when he was at UCLA. We got to see it plenty. You know, being Duck fans and all. Even though he didn't really play a ton there, because
every time he did play,
he
was productive.
But in this game, he absolutely manhandled it down there. And this is where the problem comes in. Because of the fact that Oregon only has one true center in Wavy Lays Austin. I know, you're going to hear a lot of that from me. Because of the fact that we only have him as a true center, if he gets into foul trouble, Oregon's going to have to go with really small lineups.
It makes you really want this 2014 recruiting class to come early.
Like now. Now, don't get me wrong. Oregon's forwards were playing really well. Mike Moser had a good game.
Which we knew Mike Moser was a big-time player because he was at UNLV, and he's from Oregon anyway, so we knew a lot about him coming out of high school. He was a 4-star kid, so we know he's a talented kid.
Richard Amarty had a solid game playing in the forward slot.
But I'm going to tell you what, Jason Caliste is a baller.
No kidding. You know who else is a baller that I totally forgot to mention in the first video was Joseph Young.
Joseph Young is
100% forgot to mention that guy.
Sick.
He shot the lights out. Not from 3 per se, but he did a really good job of getting to the line.
And making every free throw.
And making all of his free throws.
Golden star for you, sir.
Oh, yeah. So that I think he might, outside of Moser, be probably he's going to be one of the most important players on this team going forward. Because
I'll tell you what, Damian Dotson, I know he had a horrible game, but the combination of Damian Dotson, when you get Artis back, you have the emergence of Mike Moser
and Joseph Young and Caliste.
I'm going to tell you what we may lack in center and forward play,
we make up in shooters.
We have got shooters, and I know that wasn't the best impression of shooting, but we're going to finish the season with a really pretty dang good percentage from everywhere.
Think of it in a sense, if there's any team that you can compare it to from last year, I would say like an Iowa State. The team that shoots
lots of volume.
Yeah, it's a team that shoots a lot of high volume threes. But all the guys that shoot them have pretty solid 3-point percentages. And, I mean, there are games where you're not going to make a ton of them. But you have the athletes to make a ton of them. So it's the kind of thing where, I mean, you're obviously going to see, because Dana Altman does like to utilize the big men. He does. I mean, that's why he had players like Doug McDermott, who totally is ruling the world at Creighton right now. He's going to utilize that kind of thing, but he knows that he's comfortable using the high volume outside shooters that he has, because you'd be foolish not to. So it's looking pretty good from here. It really is. I'm really proud to see that they were able to close out a game. That was a big problem last year, was that Oregon really had some problems closing out games down the stretch. There was always something that happened the wrong way that just made you just like, oh, damn it, not again. Like Cal or Colorado or Stanford. Stanford.
In basketball even. We can't even escape you in basketball. Gosh dang it.
I know it.
But anyway, without getting off topic, it was a really strong game, I thought, as far as just, staying ahead the entire game and not losing the lead and just showing that they could grind out an ugly one if they have to. But, you saw some promise from a lot of the new guys, and going forward, getting that game experience when you have Artis and Carter out. And when they come back, I think that'll just be an added bonus. Because you can lean on some of these other players that are getting valuable playing time for those two. Like, even we know Jonathan Lloyd is he's a capable.
He's a very good serviceable point guard.
Yep.
Not a shooting volume point guard. He's a distribution guy, and that's what we need him to be right now.
Yep. Let the load of scoring be taken on by the shooting guards and the forwards and stuff. But, he'll get the guys in position. I know he kind of is out of control. He's just really, really fast. But
no kidding.
He'll get guys in position to make plays. And I'm looking forward to, as we continue to go forward through these games before we get to conference play, just to kind of see, his maturation and kind of solidifying that if Dominic Artis, gets injured or has to go out, that you're not going to lose a big drop-off in talent-wise from the point guard position, which I think is big. But just look for Oregon to get better, though, when we get those other guys back. And going forward, I think this season can be pretty special. I know we made a nice run last year, but I think we're more talented this year, so I'm expecting at least that, if not a little bit better. I'm not saying we're going to win the national title, but I think we could definitely make some noise again this year in the postseason, so...
Oh, yeah, because, Oregon's got a real big test coming up tomorrow. Let me tell you what.
So big, I don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
Woo!
Oh, yeah. So, for lack of a better word, we have kind of got everything out that we needed to talk about in this episode. But when we come back next time, we get to talk about the preview of Oregon versus Western Carolina.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun! The Catamounts. So this is UODuckBros saying thank you guys for watching, and as always,
Go Ducks!
Go Ducks! Western Carolina sucks.